Hi everyone, I'm Jody. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, welcome. Today we are going to talk about one of the hottest makeup trends for spring and summer, and I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to get this look. Pastel eyeshadows are all over the runways and we're going to see them carry us all the way into the fall. So how do you get a pastel pretty look without being overdone? Well, let me show you how to maturely modify a nice simple pastel look so that you look up to date, but not too trendy. I'm going to show you every product that I used as well as the brush techniques because they play a big part in the overall look. I'll meet you on the other side of this intro. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. This is a good time to do it. And as always, the products that I use, you'll find listed right down in the description box. I love doing makeup tutorials, so you guys let me know in the comments if you enjoy seeing makeup tutorials. I like to take current trends and maturely modify them, or makeup looks and maturely modify them, because I just found that a lot of the makeup looks, techniques, application of product on some of the younger beauty YouTubers just looked crazy on me. Whether the colors were too dark, the makeup was just too heavy or too extreme. I thought it's a beautiful look if there's a way to maturely modify it, which is what we're gonna do with this look today. This is a look that I learned from makeup artist Janika Temple out of Calgary, Canada. I'm taking another master course and she's one of the makeup artists. And this was a look that she did and I thought it was really pretty. She did it on a much younger model. So I'm like, okay, we can work with that. So first I'm just doing my brows to give them some shape. And this is an important part of the look just because, of course, we know that eyebrows frame the face. I like to use this brush from Fenty. It's been my new favorite. I was a Anastasia of Beverly Hills brow pencil girl forever, and something about this brush with this one from Fenty Beauty, that's really what I think I like the most about it, is just the brush. It doesn't work any better than a spoolie. I just like using it more than a spoolie. And then of course the color of the brow pencil works for me, and it's a gel so it doesn't really tug, and I just like the way it works overall. So we're just gonna outline the brows and then I'm just gonna go in and do little tiny brow hairs. I like a thicker brow, even though one of the trends for spring is a thinner brow. I am not gonna do that. I did that in the 90s and I'm not interested in going back. But if you have thin, sparse brows and you don't like filling them in, then you'll be happy to know that for spring and summer, thinner brows are making a comeback. I just hope that the younger girls, which I'd have told my younger self, you don't have to pluck them to get that look. You can just use a little bit more concealer and pencil them in a little thinner, and you don't have to pluck them. Use a little bit of brow gel to hold them in a thinner space. And then in 10 years, when the trend goes back to bushy brows, you're ready to go. So don't pluck them if you don't find that you have to. Just real simple. I like to just frame my brows top and bottom and then go back and fill them in. Remember, brows are sisters, they're not twins, so they don't have to be exact. And then I like to go in and just put a little bit of brow gel. This is the Clear Brow Gel by Anastasia of Beverly Hills. Sometimes I use this one, sometimes I use the Benefit. It just depends on which one I grab. I have them both. I don't find that one works any better than the other one. I just like them both. Next, I'm going to take a flat-tipped synthetic brush and I'm going to grab a little bit of my concealer. Now, Janika Temple did this trick and I thought it looked really good. And when you apply this, I like to put it on the top of the brush and then a little bit on the side, since that's where I'm going to be putting it on the eye. So right through here. And then pulling that down, not too far. I don't want it too far down onto my eye, but I really want to blend that out nicely. But I'm leaving the front section about the width of that brush without this step, and we will go back and do something there different in a second. The next step is she took a little bit of her foundation so that it's a little darker color than your concealer. Go back to that brush, a little bit on the edge of the brush, and then spread it down across the side of the brush. And that's the color that you want to go right in the front of your brow. instead of the look of the concealer. It just is a little bit darker. It's a little bit more natural, and because that's what you've put all over your face. And it blends that area out a little bit more. It just gives a more natural look to the brow. And then she just takes a little bit more and uses the foundation to do the top of the brow instead of a concealer to highlight. Now, I really like this tip for those of us with more mature skin, because as our face loses collagen, this brow bone tends to be a little bit more prominent. And when you highlight or add a concealer or a brightener across this bit of your forehead, which we see in a lot of tutorials, it emphasizes the protruding brow bone, which for me is not the look that I want as I age. I want that to look like it did 20 years ago and not be the main focus is this bone structure. So using your foundation color for this top part of the brow just makes it look a little more natural and blends into the rest of your overall makeup in this area. So when you're finished, you have something that looks like that in the brows, and then we'll move on to the eyes. Now, when it comes to the eye, you want to use an eyelid primer. I already have some concealer on. This Laura Mercier concealer works just fine for me as a primer. If you find that you've got really oily eyelids, you might want to use an actual primer that helps control the oil. On the other side of that spectrum, if you find that you've got really dry eyelids, then you might want to use an eyelid primer that has a little bit more hydration. You just want to be careful that it's not so emollient that your shadows fall into those fine lines and wrinkles on your eyelid. You want a primer that's going to fill in some of those lines so that you don't see them highlighted, especially when you add a lighter color eyeshadow. So I'm just going to use a little bit of this. And I want to use that concealer all over my eyelid, inner corner to outer corner, just like you'd want to put a primer, and then blend it with that concealer that we put on our eyebrow. It adds a base for your eyeshadow, but also gives you a more neutral palette to start with. So for the first step for me, I'm going to carve out my crease. Now, if you're going to wear more cool pastel colors, then you want this to also be a cool toned crease, but you don't want to go everything so cool that it makes your face not look warm and natural. So you might want to go for more of a neutral crease color, and then you can go warm on the other shadows or cool on the other shadows. So I like to start with a crease color, like I said, that's more on the neutral side. And for that, I'm going to go right into this color here, and I'm going to go right on the edge of a small tapered brush, tap off anything excess. And I'm going to go just out here in the corner. And your crease, if you're not sure where to put that, just put it almost halfway between your eyebrow and your eyelash line. And a good rule of thumb is to put that crease right where you put that concealer under your eyebrow. We stopped about a width short of a brush. So that's also where I want to stop with this crease. I want to add a little bit of an arch to it to add some shape to the eye, and then softly blend it out. If you've got hooded eyes or if you've got droopy eyelids, you'll want to bring that shadow up on that droop as well as the underside of it. It just helps pull the look of the eye back. Now, one thing is, if you've got deep set eyes like I do, you don't want to create your crease where your natural crease is, because by adding a dark shadow into that already shadowed creased area, I'm going to make the appearance of my eyes even more deep set, which is not what I want. So I want to put that shadow on the outer side of that crease, almost the higher side, closer to the eyebrow than the eyelashes, so that it makes my whole eyelid area a little bit wider and not so deep set. Next, I'm going to grab a small tapered brush, almost a smudge brush, and I'm going to go into this darkest color here. This is it's a really dark brown. I just want to add some shadow to this outer corner, and I'm just going to poke it in my socket. You guys have seen me do this before. As I age, this is such a critical step so that the dark side isn't uneven and I get a nice symmetrical look. So I like to just plant that right there, twist it, zoom out, look at it and say, okay, are those spots even before I start to blend them? And then I will blend ever so slightly that little V that we've all done from way back in the day. I think eyeshadow is really pretty. I don't wear it every day, But I do think on days where I just want to add a little bit of an emphasis, like Easter Sunday is a nice time, Mother's Day brunch, things like that, any special event, I just like to add a little bit of eyeshadow to give a, I don't know, just an extra pizzazz to the look of my makeup. Today I'm going to use inspiration from Easter, from spring, because as I mentioned, spring looks into summer are all about pastel eyeshadows, but if I'm not careful, I can end up looking like an Easter egg gone bad. So we're just going to take it nice and conservative today and pull that dark color out so that you should have something that looks sort of like that. And don't worry if it's not perfect, we're gonna go back in and blend it. Next, I'm gonna take that same small smudging brush that we just did that darker color with, make sure it's really clean. And now the fun part. I'm using this palette by Alter Ego. This is a new palette for them called Dream Gaze, which is why I like getting Alter Ego shadows when it's a palette like this that I'm just not gonna use all the time. This palette is only $22, and for me, that's more comfortable for pretty colors that are blendable, that have good high pigmentation, not a lot of fallout, but that are trendy that I know I'm just not gonna wear all the time. So I'm gonna use this color right here, which is Spell, and obviously it matches perfect with my shirt, which is one of the reasons I decided to go with these colors. And I'm just gonna go in with the edge of that brush. Let me know if you guys like makeup tutorials. These are my favorite to do because in order for me to do one of these, I do a lot of research and studying just so I can learn different tips and techniques. So otherwise my videos would all be the same. So I enjoy doing them, but I wanna make sure you guys enjoy watching them. If not, I can always do other content, but I like makeup tutorials. So I'm just gonna take the width of that brush and I'm gonna put it right on my lower lash line from the outer corner as far in on the lash line as the width of that brush. So you'll see right there. And I'm just gonna slightly smudge it up and down, not moving it too far. Now, if you find that you want more intense color, you can always get your brush damp with water or a little bit of setting spray. When I'm using darker colors like this, I don't want it to be too intense. I wanna build it up to the intensity. I don't want it to be too intense from the onset. Because I'm just not, I would rather control it by building it versus going on too strong. It's just harder to blend out for me. So I like to just start with a really soft color and then build it. So you can see I'm going from the outer corner and just a little bit with the blend, and then on the eyelid up to where we created that fake crease. I'm not covering the inner corner to the center of my lid. We're gonna leave that for a different color. And go back in and just add a little bit more into that darker color that we added and just blending it really, really lightly. And then right up to that crease, but not past the crease at all. Let that crease sort of act as a gate or a floodgate to stop your color from migrating too far into your brow bone. I also learned a new way to do my concealer and powder underneath my eyes that I am absolutely loving. So I'm gonna share that with you guys in the next makeup tutorial because it's been a bit of a game changer for how this under eye area looks. And I've tested it throughout the day to see, I mean, after application, yes, things look good, but how does it look after 8 hours of wear? I've been really impressed with that. So I'm gonna put that in next week's video so that you can see how we can get our under eye area to just look a little bit better for a little bit longer, minus the wrinkles from a heavier concealer and using a powder. All right, for this next step, I'm gonna use a small brush. I call these paddle brushes. This is MAC 213. I use this brush a lot. And I'm gonna spray it with a little bit of setting spray. I'm using the e.l.f. All Night Blue Light Coconut, whatever setting spray you have. I just wanna get my brush a little bit damp because I do want this color to be intense without having to build it up too much. Because it's on the inner corner where I have the most wrinkles, I just wanna apply that with a setting spray so I can really press that pigment into those wrinkles and not have it look too heavy from having to build over and over and over again. So for this color, I'm gonna go into this lightest color right here, and I'm putting that eyeshadow right on the side of the brush, and I'm gonna use the top of that brush to go right in that socket and create a fake line, if you will, or an outline about halfway up. And then since I have the makeup on that edge, I'm just gonna press it. Now, if you really want this white part to stand out, you could use a shadow pigment that you can pick up at most makeup stores, and then use a pigment glue. NYX has a good pigment glue, and there are days when I will use that if I'm going to be on camera and I really want a va-voom kind of a look. See how layering a few darker colors in that outer corner and then having a lighter color on the inner corner and taking it halfway, you end up with a really pretty ombre effect to the makeup without trying that hard to do that. Now I'm gonna go back to that small smudging brush that we had, and I'm gonna go into that darker color that we used in the outer corner, and I'm just gonna very lightly smudge some color right under my lower lashes. And because it's the same darker color that we used in the outer corner, it's gonna really flow and have a nice consistent look to the eye, a coordinated look. And you can carry this all the way across your lash line to the inner corner if you'd like. I go a little old school with it and stop about halfway with the color and then blend it in to the inner corner. For me, I feel like it gives a little softer look. And then on the outer corner, I like to just blend that a little bit down. This is something I've been doing lately and I really like the overall effect. I mean, that's just a really soft, pretty natural look to the eye. Next, I'm gonna grab an eyeliner and I'm using a dark brown. This is by Smashbox. You can use black here if you have darker skin tone and darker eyelashes, darker features, or you can go with a lighter color if you prefer. I want the eyeliner to sort of help finalize or polish the final look. So after I've curled my lashes, I'm gonna go in with this outer corner, hold my eyelid a little bit tight and just make small strokes across my lash line, and then bringing that right into the lashes. I don't want the liner to go all the way to where my lashes stop. I want to stop it just a little bit shy because I want the emphasis to be on the outer corner of the eye to give a little bit of a lifting effect. I like to hold my eyeliner pencil way back at the end. It just allows for a little more control when I'm doing a precision eyeliner look like this. And then a little final sweep with the finger to make sure that that tail is in an upward motion. Next, I'll add a coat of mascara. I'm using Thrive Cosmetics tubing mascara, starting with just a little wiggle at the very root of the lash to give an eyeliner type effect or a thicker look to the root of my lashes, and then pulling that up to really not coat. I don't want a ton of product on my lashes, especially as I get to the end of the lashes, because the product can be heavy and I don't want anything to weigh down the lashes when I'm trying to give the lashes a look and an appearance of being up and more alert. So I really like to take the majority of the product and put it right at the base of that lash and then pull what's left on the wand up through those lashes. I mean, this mascara, you guys, it's pretty amazing. I'll link all these products in the description box below in case you want more information on them. Again, this is a tubing mascara. I don't need 2 coats of this. I don't need a waterproof when I'm done. It just stays right where it's supposed to. And if you use a lash serum, a growth serum like Latisse or New Lash, and then you partner those lashes with a mascara like this, it gives a nice natural look to the lashes that almost looks false fake, you know what I mean? And then I'll just take a little bit on the lower lashes, not much. I don't want to look like I have mascara on my lower lashes. I just want to add a little extra dimension. I'm going to finish up with my lipstick because my eyes are a little darker and they've really got the color coordination going on between the eyeshadow and the shirt. The shirt is by Frame. I picked it up at Nordstrom the other day. I'll link it down in the description box below. But I want my lips to play a second seat or a supporting actress to the makeup today, letting the eyes go front and center. So I'm gonna go a little muted, a little more natural, a little more nude on the lips, and I am using the NYX lip liner. This is in pale pink. And is it sharp enough? And of course not. You would think I would plan ahead and sharpen all my pencils before I'm gonna do a tutorial with them, but it is sharp now. And I'm just gonna line my lips with this light color. And I'm gonna go in with 800 by L'Oreal. This is Ferris Nude. I mean, that is just a perfect nude color, and it pairs really nicely with this pale pink from NYX. So there you go. Pretty simple, you guys. It looks like a lot of steps. It really isn't once you get the hang of it. It's the perfect Easter or Mother's Day brunch going from spring, and you can carry this look all the way into summer, and you can use it with any types of colors. Pastels are definitely a hot trend for spring and summer, but if you wanted to wear a dark olive green shirt, for example, in the fall, you could use the same technique. Just use the color that most matches your shirt in the place where we put that magenta color. The supporting colors around your main color can be in the same tone as your main color, and for sure colors and tones that work well for your skin. That does it for me today, you guys. I think this is a really pretty soft look. It's a maturely modified version of the pastels that are hot for spring and summer makeup trends. I'll see you in just a couple days. Bye-bye.